listen to the theme song of the show West Wing on loop coming from my parents' room when my dad is in the middle of his yearly binge watch. Once in a while, I would catch a glimpse of the show, but this was the first time that I actually sat through full episodes. On most nights, we would watch a couple episodes and more on the weekends and work our way through the seasons. And after 2 episodes in, I was already planning my second binge watch. Yes, you heard that correctly, only 2 episodes in. Now, if you don't know, West Wing is a show from the early 2000s that takes place in the West Wing of the White House. The series starts during the Bartlett administration in the middle of their first year in office. I feel like when you think of the White House, you normally automatically think of the president, but the show explained how many other people there truly are that are working on figuring out different situations that have occurred and how to fix them. So I think that the best way to approach talking about this particular series is to talk about most of the main characters. Now I do have to mention that this is a pretty short list compared to how many people are come and go throughout the series. And there are so many other amazing characters that are part of the series. You just have to actually watch the series to meet them all. Let's start off with President Bartlett. West Wing focuses on his presidency starting from the second half of his first year as president. The show shows how power the president actually holds and that the people he chose are most important. He also does a great job of informing the staff of any historical significance tied to any event. I think that President Bartlett would be a great leader for our country because he seems to be more focused on the American people rather than the politics behind every move. He has his own personal things throughout the show, but I don't want to ruin it all for you guys. So to transition, I'll use Bartlett's key phrase. What's next? Leo McGarry is the chief of staff who has been friends with President Bartlett for years, and he also convinced him to run for president. We get to see how the chief of staff is able to filter down what actually gets to the president's desk. Leo's character shows how public service can take a toll on their personal life, and though Leo has some flaws, he seems to be someone to go to for advice. Plus, through Leo, we also get to learn about Big Block of Cheese Day. Joss Lyman is the deputy chief of staff and works directly with Leo. Joss is the extremely high-stress, often snarky person tasked with figuring out situations to the episode's problems. His character showcases the inner workings of Washington, D.C., budgets approved to get Supreme Court justices on the bench, and selecting the possible president nominee. Joss also taught me not to respond to internet trolls, because you never win. Toby Siegeler is the chief of communications, and we find out through the show that him and President Bartlett have a complicated relationship. Toby can definitely come across as the sky is falling at certain moments, but usually has his reasonings to support his actions. We learn that the communications team is key to keeping drama in check. Sam Seaborn is the deputy chief of communications who works hand in hand with Toby. Sam seems to be the main person that people come to bounce ideas off of, and for the most part seems to have the least amount of drama. However, you may not believe this when watching the first few episodes. Unlike Toby, Sam and President Bartlett have a relationship in which President Bartlett is building and guiding Sam to be a potential great leader at some point. After 4 seasons, Sam decides to leave the White House for his own personal ambitions, which leads us to Will Bailey. Will Bailey replaces Sam Seaborn as the Deputy Chief of Communications, and quickly we see that he is questioned by Toby. Will is open to challenging the president, and many times Toby is surprised that the president welcomes the challenge. It takes a long time for Will to cement his position with the core group, and once he does, he opts for the position of Chief of Staff for the Vice President, Bob Russell, and then eventual running for Bob Russell's presidential campaign. Is he successful? You'll have to watch season 6 and 7. Claudia Jean, or CJ Craig, is the press secretary for the administration, whose codename is Flamingo. Now, you'll never see a flamingo the same way again. And I mean this in a good way. CJ shows how important the press secretary is in terms of messaging for the administration. If she has a bad interaction with the press, then that can have a large domino effect for the rest of the day for the administration. This was greatly demonstrated when she had to unexpectedly miss a press briefing due to an emergency dental procedure, aka one of the best episodes ever. She has to create a close bond with the press, so they'll trust her, and in turn they'll alert her if something is going to be printed about the president. CJ is an influential female within the team of guys. And CJ's character growth is present throughout the entirety of the series, which makes her accomplishments that much more rewarding for the viewer. Donna Moss has the great pleasure of being Joss Lyman's assistant, as you constantly get to hear, "Donna!" We learn at the beginning that she left college for a boy and stumbled upon the Bartlett for America campaign in Wisconsin and proved to Joss immediately that he needed her. She is definitely uneducated in terms of government, but you see her character actively learn to gain the knowledge. As she grows, she learns to find her position to offer her ideas and eventually decides to take a leap of faith for herself. Charlie Young is President Bartlett's personal aide. He is with the president from the moment he wakes up and doesn't end until he goes to bed. Charlie and President Bartlett's relationship is almost father-son, as he guides Charlie to having a strong, educated future. He makes Charlie promise to resign from his position once he graduates from college, and his character definitely brings a lot of teaching moments for the viewers. Mrs. Bartlett, or Abby, or Dr. Bartlett, is the First Lady of the United States. Her character gives a glimpse of life as First Lady in terms of her having such a strong career and how that can be a challenge for the administration. She is very outspoken and tries to use her influence as wife to improve lives. Zoe Bartle is the youngest daughter of the Bartletts, and she is a student at Georgetown University. Her codename is one of my favorites, Book Bag. As a reader myself, this completely just stuck with me. Her character shows the challenge of being a president's child and trying to navigate life. Amy Gardner is not formally a part of the administration, but has great influence upon the administration, particularly when it comes to women's issues. She is the definition of a feminist in politics and adds extra speed bumps to situations. Plus, she tries to find the perfect girl for Joss. Matt Santos and Arnie Vinnick are characters that come in towards the end of the series. Matt Santos is hoping to be the Democrat nominee for president against Vice President Bob Russell and Arnie Vinnick, the Republican nominee. Joss recruits Matt Santos to run for the nomination and guides his campaign, which adds even more stress to his life. The last few seasons are spent on the campaign trail to see who will become president, and you'll have to watch to see who wins. I love that West Wing truly focuses on the team that is the West Wing, how every character can have a massive effect on everyone around them. The show is amazing on not having there be too much outside of the White House drama that can easily overshadow the main storyline, that is, what is it like to work at the West Wing? West Wing is a show that is able to be serious while also being hilarious with tons of inside jokes. Like, I have recently discovered the awesomeness that is West Wing GIFs, and you can just search them up on Google, and it's truly amazing. Now, as an incoming sophomore in high school, the show helped me get introduced / learn about government, to showing all the work that gets done to getting a task like getting a bill passed, and the joy of the campaign trail, and of course, so many other lessons. The show was also fun to watch this past year, with the time that I watched the show overlapping with the 2020 election for president. In conclusion, I'm a fan of West Wing. I love the characters, I love the jokes, I love the story, and I just had to make a video about it. Now, that's all for today's video. Please like, and since you're in that area of the screen anyway, why not hit the subscribe button? Like, it's not that hard. I hope you stay your extraordinary self, and what's next?